Welcome to AI versus the world. Today we'll be discussing how AI affects classrooms. I'm Z.
I'm Heather.
I'm Wyatt.
I'm Mason.
All right, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about with AI in schools is students using AI.
When you say that, you talk about like them just putting their homework into a computer and letting it do it for them, correct?
Yeah, or them like asking questions and getting answers.
Well, obviously they're not really practicing what they've learned, and there's an issue with that. Like the homework is there for the students to practice. However, I guess there's the talk of if homework's really even necessary. That's an argument some people will make, and students are very busy nowadays, so AI is a way to go around that.
My opinion is that if you're using it to ask for help, then yeah, that's awesome. But if you're using it to cheat, then that's horrible. That is technically bad integrity if you cheat.
I see students using AI in classrooms as them trying to find the easy way out of life. Because if you're trying to use AI just to do a simple math question or to do your homework or to do in-school assignments, that's just finding the easy way out instead of actually taking your time to learn something that could be beneficial to you.
Yeah, because your teachers are there to help. Even at college, they have office hours. So you could ask your professor, hey, can I take some office hours? And they would definitely accept, your requests and all that.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about with students is what do we think about students using Grammarly, which is a form of AI to correct their work?
What's really different from typical grammar corrections? I think it's fine, really, to use something to correct your work. Like, people do mistakes, and it's hard not to make mistakes when you're constantly writing essays, for example. I'm in AP English. I've written dozens of essays in the past month, and I can't correct them all on my own.
And I use Grammarly for some of my work as well. I use it to mainly correct my grammar because I'm not perfect. Neither of us are.
Now, in my classroom, we also use Grammarly because it is provided through the school and they do pay for it to give us corrections. And now my thing with it is my teacher had a thing where a student used Grammarly and it gave him the suggestion to make it sound more. But in my classroom, my teacher had told us a story about how at the end of the year, as our last essay, a student had came across Grammarly and it told him to make his essay sound more smart, in a sense. And if he hadn't told the student to not click that button, the work would have been marked off as AI because it would have corrected all the writing that he had done.
Yeah, that's one problem with AI, is that sometimes if it sees a better way of doing something, it'll rewrite everything, and that's really not what you want to do. I've had this problem with learning a really old programming language that they don't really have tutorials for anymore, and it would correct it to the point of no return where everything was broken.
Leading into the topic of my teacher, let's talk about how teachers use AI. Now, my teacher, as an example, I've talked about him before in past episodes, he has given us an assignment where it was just a slideshow we had to do, but in order to get extra points, we had to submit an AI-generated photo. What do you guys think of that?
That's just a bit silly if you think about it. Like, requiring you to use AI for a generated image. They could just use some of their own work. I don't see why the teacher had to do that.
My opinion is, I think it's dumb. It's not really a teacher, if you ask me.
Now, when we think of teachers using AI, we don't normally think of my example right there.
Yeah.
We think of another example is my uncle, who is a teacher. He catches students cheating with AI all the time. And the way he does that is by using an AI program to catch an AI program. Isn't that a little weird in a sense?
Honestly, yeah, it is kind of weird, but I'm not entirely sure if that's completely accurate, considering, well, you got AI trying to find another AI, and it can barely even calculate a number correctly sometimes. So there's probably a lot of false flags in that.
Well, yeah, I also remember hearing about a story. It was either in U of M or MSU, but a student was also accused of writing a paper with AI, and they got a 0. So then they went ahead and they sued back. I don't know what the results of that were, but that's one story that comes to mind when I hear about like checking for AI. How it works, to my understanding, is it'll just go through and give like a percentage base of how likely it is to be used by AI. So it's not necessarily a guarantee, it's just giving you its opinion, really.
See, no, on the topic of like students getting caught using AI, we do have some students in our class who do use AI way more than they should, and they do get caught with it a lot. But we also have some really smart students in our school that are in like the top 10 of our grade who have written essays and have gotten falsely accused of cheating because their work sounded too smart for a high schooler.
Again, like the one thing with the teacher asking you to insert an AI generated image, that seems like an extreme, and a lot of people do like extremes. They are probably the loudest of any voice you'll hear, but it's not necessarily the majority. And I'd hope it's not the majority, because that seems like very rough.
Now, I want to talk about AI being banned in classrooms. All these schools have talked about how if you use AI, you automatically get a 0, which is what we've been talking about with the teachers trying to catch students. But, like, do we really think AI being banned is being enforced in schools?
That's all I'm gonna say is no.
I think it's enforced by some teachers, not so much others. Some teachers will sort of check or briefly, others won't even check. Although it really just comes down to which type of person you're dealing with. Some will try, some won't.
All right. Now, what do we think about teachers using AI for like lesson planning or homework or making assignments?
Well, I think it's actually a great idea, considering some teachers take hours to make their lesson plans.
Yeah.
And with AI, they can shorten it down to like 5-10 minutes while still keeping the creativity that they wanted.
But my rebuttal to that is that's just encouraging students to use AI the same way.
I mean, you're gonna end up using AI in any field at this point just to keep up, especially in the digital media field. We use AI to make an example. Use AI for
Remixing. So we'll take a music soundtrack or whatever. We can make it longer by using an AI remix tool, which will create very specific cuts, and it'll be able to duplicate or cut out to however it feels it can within a certain amount of time.
But yet again, if our field's a little different on the terms of AI, because yes, we do have to use it sometimes to like edit sound or do this or that. But in a regular classroom on the topic of like English, math, all the main courses, like the STEM education, we can't ask AI to do all that stuff for us. So if teachers are asking AI to do the stuff for them, that just encourages the students to do the same thing, which is just a loophole of teachers using it to do their work and students using it to do their work.
See, I don't really agree with that, considering the fact that, see, the teachers also have a knowledge of what they want it to look like. So they're not just asking it to do it, they're probably asking it to reformat it to maybe make it look easier to read and all that sometimes.
But students could do the same thing.
Yeah, that's not bad though. If you want something reformatted so you can read it better, it's not cheating.
I think what Mason's trying to say is school is an educational ground. People or kids are there to learn, and teachers, they do have it very rough. They're paid a lot worse than many other careers. It's difficult to spend hours unpaid trying to make an appealing lesson plan that all the kids will want to learn from. So really it's them taking a shortcut that they feel necessary because teachers are people too. They're trying to balance their work life with their actual life, and AI is essentially a shortcut to that. Is it a good thing, and does it reflect the greatest on the teachers trying to tell them not to use AI to take shortcuts? Not really, but it is a sacrifice that some teachers feel like they have to take.
Right, and that's a good point. Like, I can understand teachers having it rough and them needing to use something else, but that's why there's also like lesson planning apps and like other things that they could use to help them lesson plan other than AI, which I think that would be better to use considering their example on the students.
The way I look at AI is if you're not eventually to cross over to it, then you're just going to be left behind. Like your career is going to be taken over. You have to add a little bit of it into it, or else they'll probably find AIs that can teach better than some teachers at some point.
No, what about like jobs like architecture, where people literally have to physically build things?
I mean, you got AI that can actually do manual labor sometimes. They're trying to get one to underwater weld.
Oh, yeah. They've got animatronics. They've actually developed a few very realistic looking ones, and they have been able to perform some actions. Over time, that'll definitely get better, but I think we'll cut off that point there. And does anyone have anything else to add?
I do not.
All right, then we can wrap up. Or no, we've got a outro, I believe.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to AI versus the World, and we'll see you next episode.